There have been many triumphs and tragedies throughout history. Triumphs in history be good or bad triumphs, like into a new land, or triumphs in overthrowing people. Tragedies can be as tragic as the aftermath of war or massacres. I will be going over Hitler's triumphs as the leader of Germany and the many tragedies he caused. Then I will go through the US and its allies' military triumphs over the German threat. Then I will say how the US caused the tragic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Before we can go through Hitler's start as a German leader, we will have to dive into his personal life and what made him have such harsh opinions about other races and Aryan superiority. Hitler grew up very close to his father, Alois. The only problem Hitler had with his father was that he wouldn't let him live his dreams as an artist. Adolf intentionally started performing poorly in school to show his father that his school wasn't helping him. However, after his father died, he started performing well in school. Hitler gained his harsh racial opinions around this time too. Leaders like Karl Lueger and George Ritter influenced Hitler to have his opinions, since much of their influence is where he lived. Hitler was enlisted in the Bavarian army in World War I. Hitler fought in the First Battle of Ypres, the Battle of Somme, the Battle of Arras, and the Battle of Passchendaele. Adolf was wounded at the Battle of Somme and got many awards from his Jewish superior. Hitler was wounded when the shell exploded on his left thigh, and Hitler was also temporarily blinded after a mustard gas attack for 2 months. During that time, he learned of Germany's defeat. Hitler did describe the war as the greatest of all experiences. Hitler began to believe that Germany was stabbed in the back by Jews. Hitler's actions and beliefs brought him many allies, but many enemies as well. Hitler later got many very powerful countries to go against him, this including the USSR, the United Kingdom, China, and the United States. Allies Hitler gained included Italy and Japan. Hitler's main goal when starting his campaign to be a German leader was to rid Germany of the so called backstabbing Jews. Hitler made Nazi concentration camps and torturously murdered many different groups of people, most notably Jews. Hitler took his idea of getting rid of the Jews and brought it to a scary realization. Japan, an ally to the Nazis, bombed Pearl Harbor and declared war on the US. Franklin Roosevelt said this in his famous Pearl Harbor speech.
No matter how long it may take us to overcome this premeditated invasion, the American people in their righteous might will win through to absolute victory.
With this, the US declared war on Japan, and not long after Germany declared war on the US. The allies that were going against Hitler eventually found themselves closing in on Nazi Germany, and on April 30th, 1945, the weight of the winning team drove Hitler to suicide, and Germany surrendered. The US had a special weapon that they originally had planned for the Germans, but then felt like a good chance to test the new weapon and end World War II simultaneously. This caused the tragedy of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The cities were completely flattened, and Japan surrendered because of it. It's still thought of today whether it was morally okay to use such a devastating weapon on such a small country. These events truly were some of the ups and downs of the 20th century. I started with the triumphs of Hitler's beginnings and continued with the tragedy of the Holocaust, then to the triumph of the US and its allies' military, and finally the tragedy of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. I hope you can take away a good amount of information with my truly bite sized explanation.